Welcome back, everyone. This is another episode of Ask the Skinny Guy Savior. I'm Vince Delmonte, and I'm pulling questions right off my Facebook fan page to answer for you in 60 seconds or less. So let's get rolling. 5 questions for you. We've got a variety of topics, and this first one is on how to cut, the approach. Should I cut my cows first or increase cardio or both together? This is a good question here. So I cannot pronounce his name. Last name looks like it's Andreas, and he asks, transitioning from the bulk to the cut. I'm 18 years old, 85 kilos at the moment, been bulking at 3,200 calories. Following your advice, I want to cut to 10% body fat. Should I cut the calories slowly, 250 per week? Also, I haven't done any cardio in the off season. Should I start adding cardio by now, or should I only drop calories? Okay, so this is a simple approach. The first thing we can all learn from Andreas is that he's starting at a high amount of calories. You're at 3,200 calories, so there's a lot of cows that we can cut before you get to a point where you're really low. So this is a lesson we can all take from Andreas. So great job. A lot of people, the problem they experience, the reason they hit plateaus is because they're starting with their cows so low, but there's nowhere else to go. Like, you can't go lower than your basal metabolic rate. You're just gonna strip all your muscle off and you're gonna end up in a hospital, literally. You're gonna get really unhealthy. So here's the approach that I use, and this usually happens every 3 to 4 weeks. I find that most people experience plateaus every 3 to 4 weeks. So the first thing we do is we drop your calories 25% from carbohydrates. And we're gonna probably reduce those from the 25% I would remove are from the carbs before your workout, all right? That's step one. That one step in itself should get you to continue to lose fat, probably for a couple weeks. Once you hit a plateau, we increase energy expenditure. If you're not doing any cardio at the moment, we would basically add some energy expenditure via cardio. So I would want to first make sure you're doing at least 5 times a week of weights. Assuming you are, then we would add some cardio on top of that. 20 minutes of intervals. That next change in itself is going to get you to keep losing body fat. All right? Probably 3-4 weeks later, you'll probably hit another plateau. What do we do next? Now we go back to reducing your calories, and we reduce your carbs again by 25%. And if you're starting up at a high amount, you should be in good shape. So for somebody who's starting, let's say 150 grams, 25% is only 37 grams. So you're still getting 112 grams. We cut them again. Now you're around 75 grams or something. So we're still getting in some carbs each day. We're not going down to 0, which is what most people do. And then they figure, why can't I lose weight on 0 carbs? The fourth thing we would do is, again, what we did on second step, we'd add cardio again. So we'd add another 25%. So it's that simple. We reduce cows, increase energy. Reduce cows, increase energy. So that's how I like to do it. I don't like to do both simultaneously. Oftentimes doing too much to your body is just too extreme, and it's not necessary. The fewer steps you can take to creating the change, the better. All right, that's what's going. Essentially, what we're trying to do is coax the fat off your body. So that's the approach that I would take, Andreas. And it's gonna, again, we use outcome-based decision making on determining when we do those things. I was saying every 3 to 4 weeks, but if you hit a plateau after 2 weeks, then you can do it. If it takes 5 weeks, then you do it then. So that we only make those changes once you hit a plateau. Next question goes to Nam Hong. Hey Nam, what's happening? He says, I love your channel. It's helped me a lot. I'm going on a trip to Central America for 3.5 months. Which supplements do you think are absolutely necessary for me to bring with me? I want to keep as much muscle as possible and keep my body fat percentage low. My diet is probably going to suck a bit on the trip. I was thinking about some CLA, carnitine alongside some quality whey protein. What would you bring for a trip of that length? Thanks in advance from Denmark. So this comes down to, remember, what are supplements? A supplement is something you supplement to your diet that's missing. So ask yourself, what food sources do you think you're gonna be missing when you're on this trip? You know what I'm saying? So this is how you answer this question. So, for me on a trip, I'm probably not going to be eating a lot of fish. So I'm probably going to supplement with my fish oils. I'm probably not going to be eating as much vegetables when I'm on a trip. So I'll probably bring a greens product. Most likely I'll be able to get my protein intake on the road still, because I'm going to be eating at least a few times a day and there's always protein available. But just in case, I might bring a protein powder. I'll probably bring a multi. But That's probably the extent of it. I probably bring my zinc and magnesium as well to help me sleep at night. Those would probably be my personal 5. You know, probably some vitamin D, depending on if I'm going somewhere with a lot of sunlight or not. But I think if you look at it from what foods am I not going to be getting as much as, and which supplements can fix those needs, those are the ones that I would bring. Okay, Youssef, are stretch marks a thing? If I bulk up and get a bit of fat in the process, what's the chance of getting stretch marks? So the only time you'll get stretch marks is if you bulk up too fast. It's basically a sign of gaining muscle at a really quick rate. To be honest, it's a kind of a cool problem to have. Most people never experience that, but again, they're not very pretty. So a couple of things you want to make sure you're doing is you've got you got sufficient vitamin E in your diet, which is going to help keep your skin elastic and help minimize it. So vitamin E is the most important thing. And just don't go crazy with your bulking. The only guys that I know that get stretch marks that go nuts with bulking. They just, try and pack on, they try and go over and above what's probably a more realistic rate of growth, and they just basically grow muscle at a rate that their skin can't keep up to. So as long as you ignore excessive bulking cycles and you get sufficient vitamin E in your diet, you should be fine. And an alternative to an excessive bulking cycle of 4 to 6 months straight is cyclical bulking. And you guys can read more about that at 21dayfastmassbuilding.com, which is my kind of evolved form of bulking. So instead of bulking for 6 months then cutting for 4 months, you can do mini cycles. You can cut for a week, then bulk for 2 weeks, cut for a week, bulk for 2 weeks. So that's an approach that literally thousands of guys have already tried through our program, 21 Day Fast Mass Building. I'll put a link for you guys below, but that definitely is one approach. If you're fearful of getting stretch marks, that approach will certainly ensure you don't. Okay? Let's just do one more question here. We'll take this one here from Corey Curtis. I'm always looking for names here of people who I haven't answered their question yet. So this one's from Corey. Says, "Hey Vince, I really want to know what are the benefits to being on a high-fat, low-carb diet and vice versa. High carb, low fat, same calories. I seem to feel less bloated on the high-fat diet along with losing weight. I have not lost strength in the process, but I see most people eating much more carbs than I do, currently on a 10-35-55 ratio, and have went from 298, 26% body fat to 270, 20% body fat in 8 weeks. Yeah, if you're trying to lose fat, a low carb diet is certainly more beneficial. I would recommend you continue to do that as well. The only time you need more carbs is if you're doing activities that require an available form of glycogen. You need energy to be broken down quickly. So endurance athletes need more carbohydrates. Guys, bodybuilders who are doing a lot of high volume training, a lot of sets per workout with a high frequency of training are going to need more carbohydrates in their diet. So the carbs act as they produce a muscle sparing effect. So they spare your muscle. They prevent your muscle from being broken down for tissue. So I would continue following the route that you're going. I think this is a great place. You're already losing fat, and you're only 20% body fat, so you still have probably another 10% I'm assuming you want to lose at 270. That's another 30 pounds or so. So I'm going to bank my money on this approach, the one you're already following, as the best way to knock off the next 30 pounds as well. So you're on the right track. All right, so we'll wrap it up right there. Thank you for your questions. If you haven't joined the channel yet, by subscribing, click that subscribe button right now and you'll be notified as soon as a new episode comes up. And the last thing I just want to mention to everybody out there is 21 Day Fast Mass Building, which is a program that's been online for over 2 years. We've had literally thousands of guys download it, follow it, and completely change the way that they bulk up with this approach that's known as cyclical bulking, where we teach you how to cycle your calories and to match the training to the type of to the eating you're doing in a cyclical fashion. Aside from the science that we give to support The effectiveness of it, what I think is, to be honest, the most powerful reason a lot of people love it and get great results with it is because it breaks up the goals into mini bouts. A lot of guys just have a hard time, staying focused on bulking for 4 to 5 months. It's a long time, let's admit it. And then cutting for 4 or 5 months after that, it's a hard time to stay focused on one goal. But a lot of guys love the idea of, yeah, I can do that. Cut for a week, bulk for 2 weeks. Yeah, I can do that. And they've kind of got these mini deadlines to hit. It shrinks the change that's required to achieve the end outcome. So I think a lot of guys love this program because it's 21 days and you can repeat it as many times as you want. Most guys do 2 or 3 cycles and they end up at the body composition that they want, but they break it down mentally in 21-week blocks. And if you can't follow a 21-day program, you have to ask yourself, are you that serious? So I'll post a link for you guys below to 21-day fast mass building. Check that out. It's a hot program, great way to kick off the year. And if you don't own it yet, it's there for you to add to your library and to follow, most importantly. All right, we'll see you guys next time.